Hi, right. So I'm just in the process of leaving Sada Marina. I'm just going down to the fuel pontoon now to top up with fuel and hand my gate card back in. That's the fuel pontoon down there. So I'm just drifting up to it at about 1.5 knots at the moment because I've got the camera in my hand. But yeah, it is a beautiful morning. Okay, this is fairly painless. The most places is self-service nowadays, but this chap's just come down and it's a serviced pump, so that's really handy. So he's doing all the hard work, which is lovely. Oh, it couldn't be easier. This is really good. Yeah, I'm overly impressed with this place. It's without any doubt the best marina I've ever been in. Okay, that's me all done. Jesus, I was just like, when I motored down there, it was quite nippy and cold. I suppose the sun's just come up that little bit higher in like half an hour, and it's going to be another absolutely roasting day. I need to get out of Corunna, this bay here, really, and get out past the headland and see what's happening out there. I'm hoping that I'll get at least 8 to 12 knots. Oh, there's someone anchoring like I did. Yeah. Goodbye Sada Marina. I hope to come back here one of these days. I really do. Well, that's the Sada side down. Got to get around all these fishing boats. I don't know why they do it, but they all sit there in a line. Catching something or other. Anyway, yes, I can't speak highly enough of Sada Marina. Right, the blokes in the office, all of them, been really helpful, really friendly. They've all made a huge effort to speak English, some better than others, but all of them better than my Spanish, you know, by about 500%. Where I was on the outer marina was a bit bumpy when I think this whole area is renowned for being a bit bumpy. I've seen it on other people's videos actually. That they're bouncing around a bit in the marina, but he did say to me I could go further in, and I said no, I couldn't be bothered. So that's my own fault. I could have gone further into the marina and been more comfortable. Bleached the water tanks, cleaned the water tanks out because they're steel tanks, so they periodically you get algae bloom in them. Realistically, you can use the tanks. It's not dangerous, the algae. I kind of did quite a lot of research in it the first time it happens. It's not dangerous, the algae. It's just a bit, the water goes a bit off colour. But really, you're good for drinking water in the tanks for about 2 weeks. Then I think there's a combination of two things. Maybe the water's getting a bit low. You have to maybe keep it really topped up. But then you do start to get this this bloom of algae, sort of the water goes slightly off colour. It's not dangerous, you could probably drink it for a bit longer, but what I do is I use it for washing and cooking, which is fine, and then I drink, when that happens, I drink stuff out of the bottles. So I just fill the kettle up out of the bottles until such a time as I can fill the tanks to the brim, put half a cup of bleach in it, leave it overnight, and then empty them again, and we start all over again. I've motored out to basically the entrance into Corunna, and I'm just passing that entrance now. This is the entrance into Corunna, and then that's the town over there, the city, shall we say, and then that there that's the Tower of Hercules, which is obviously the famous landmark in this part of the world, and I'm heading that way. Right, so it's, I don't know what time it is, 2:15, and we have finally got a little tiny bit of wind, just 8 knots. However, I've got the whole generator out, the whole mainsail out. It's unfortunately slightly forward of the beam. If it was after the beam slightly, I could put the cruising chute out and we'd go a bit faster. But we are making between 3 and 3.5 knots. And I've finally been able to turn the engine off. Well, the wind didn't last very long. It lasted about 2 hours and then just died a death. And so I've been motoring ever since. Just been overtaken by a rather nice catamaran. Little chap over there. So I've finally cleared this bloody headland. This thing here. Hours and hours and hours I've been plodding towards this just to get around it. So anyway, I managed to point in the direction that I want to go for the anchorage for tonight. It looks rather glorious down there actually. Right, can you hear that? No engine. Ooh. We are getting a magnificent 8.5 knots of breeze. Now, as I just start to clear the bay, I'm fairly long way out in the bay. I haven't cleared it yet. Still a few miles to go, 3 miles probably, until I clear the headland. Well, we've got about 8.5 knots of wind. That's given us probably about 2.5 knots of speed. But it's just so nice not to have the engine on. Hi, right, so I'm able to sail slowly, 3 knots at the moment. We were doing better earlier on, but I think the tide's turned against us. I'm making about 5 knots earlier on one tack. The wind is coming from the southwest, southwest. Yeah, it was the southwest. It's actually predicted to move to the west, which would actually allow me to run down this coast, which would be good on a port tack. However, it started as southwest and then it's moved around to southwest. That has at least given me, well, I'm on a port tack now, moving away from the shore. I can make 282, so I'm just basically going out to sea. This boat does not, it's a shoal draft twin-keeled boat, old-fashioned design. It does not go to windward very well at all. So we're going to make heavy work of this. So I was within 5 miles of the entrance of the area that I was intending to go and spend the night in. But I have put another tack in and gone back out to sea. The reason for this is that I've discovered, well, I got some messages from some friends on Facebook, and I saw myself as I came close to shore. I just had a play with the phone and spotted that the tropical storm Ophelia has been upgraded, or is being upgraded today, to a hurricane, and is not heading for America. It's heading, every time I start talking the fucking radio goes off. Shut up. It's heading for Europe. Oh, by the way, that radio, right, I have not heard it since the last time I picked the camera up. No one said a bloody word. And then I've picked the camera up and someone speaks on it every single time. Really weird. Anyway, right, tropical storm Ophelia is heading towards Spain and Portugal. Well, it's difficult to tell. I've had a look at what information there is, and basically it could hit anywhere between Portugal and Ireland. which is useful. Don't know then. Just to make life a little bit more interesting, if going into the wind, hurricanes and everything else wasn't interesting enough, we've now got sea fog. It's not that thick, but it does restrict visibility considerably. I've got 2 fishing vessels in front of me as well, so smack in front of me about 2 miles. Usually I'd be able to see them by now, but can't see anything at the moment, so I shall be digging out the foghorn about now. It's difficult to tell actually to begin with that it is fog, but it is. So we've got a sea fog. Sea fog being what it is, it could hang around for ages, so don't know. Turning into one of them days, isn't it, really? I've had to have a bit of a rethink. I tacked out towards the shipping lanes, and it's complete sea fog out there. So it's really bad as well. It's really thick sea fog out there. So I thought, no, this is no good. So I tacked back again, and I've come down here to, I forget the name of this place, Muxia. Muxia is the little place I'm going to anchor. So I'm just coming into the entrance now. Yeah, another glorious sunset. So, oh, hello. Yeah, so not sure what to do. So I'm going to go in here and anchor for the night because everything I seem to do is not, it's not working, is it? So I'm into the wind. I'm tacking. I'm not really making much progress down the because the forecast shift to the west never happened at all. If anything, the wind has shifted more to the south, so it's south-southwest at the moment, so it didn't go west. Just really not getting anywhere with this. So and then when you tack out to be able to make any progress on the following tack, you just tack out into fog. So I thought, fuck it, I'll just go and anchor out for the night and have a think, right? So I need to get on the internet, I think, and have a look and see what's happening with this bloody hurricane thing, where it's likely to go. I'm sure when I read earlier on my phone, I think the consensus was it could hit land anywhere between Ireland and Portugal. Well, that's not much cop, is it? So I don't think anyone knows where the epicenter of it's going to be until it's like too late to do anything about it anyway. But I did hear 75 mile an hour winds, and I've been thinking 75 mile an hour winds, yeah, okay, it's a bit leery, but it's not what they were having on the other side of the Atlantic. That was 200 miles. That was 180 and 200 mile an hour winds. So I think we've had like winter storms of in excess of 70 miles an hour winds, 80 mile an hour winds and things, and the boat was all right in a marina. That's what I'm thinking. So what currently, there's no way, given the prevailing winds or the forecast winds that I've got in the next 3 or 4 days, I just couldn't make any decent distance away from this place anyway. I could move a bit, maybe, a couple 100 miles maybe, but not enough to make any difference, because 200 miles left or right to try and avoid a hurricane is just pointless.